Haven't seen Chris Fox, have you? I don't have my link on here. Mine's stuck.
Let's call it.
I'm back.
Hey, it's coming over to the council.
I think it's December. I'm back.
Well, that's good.
I think I found it, but I need help.
You want to talk to Chris? You want to talk to Chris?
I think I might have it.
Are you talking about the phone? I think Monica's coming.
Ladies and gentlemen and little leaguers, we have two really exciting presentations before we begin our business meeting, and we'll do this over the next 10 minutes or so. So glad that people are here, and we have our Des Moines and regional audience tuned in on TV as well, and so we're really appreciative that everybody's here. We have a real treat here in Des Moines. Obviously, you can see from their uniforms that we have some athletes here that have accomplished a great deal. We're going to get to that in just a second. You boys get to hear something else that we're going to do because we have friends from C-SPAN here, and Phillips and Nadini. Did I get it? Okay, thank you. Are you going to come up, just you?
Yes.
We have the chance here in Des Moines to have have C-SPAN here, not only being televised and as a free service to everybody in central Iowa, but they have an exciting week here as they travel the country. And so I'm going to read a proclamation that's from the mayor. I didn't do a very good job of telling you that the mayor is out of town representing the city, and so I stand in for him this year while he's gone. My name's Chris Coleman. So here's what the mayor's proclamation says. Whereas C-SPAN is approaching its 40th year as a private, not-for-profit company dedicated to making Congress and the United States government more open to the American public, receiving no taxpayer funds. C-SPAN is a public service created by the American cable television industry, and one of its founding partners is Iowa's primary television company, Mediacom Communications. Back then it was probably Heritage TV and our friends Mr. County and Mr. Hauk. Whereas C-SPAN's mission of government transparency is advanced by giving a commercial-free and unfiltered view of public affairs to millions of American households, as the network provides around-the-clock access to U.S. government proceedings, political events, international legislatures, as well as nonfiction book discussions and American history features. Lots of us were tuned in last week because Washington was all over the news. And whereas C-SPAN expanded its public service mission exponentially by creating C-SPAN Video Library with more than 245,000 hours of congressional coverage, extensively indexed and searchable, this database of C-SPAN programming is an unparalleled chronological resource that is free and publicly accessible. You guys will log on tonight and go check it out, won't you? Yes? Yes. C-SPAN was created 25 years ago. The C-SPAN bus was created 25 years ago as a mobile learning center and production studio which visits hundreds of communities each year as it works with teachers and students and introduces them to the network's coverage of Congress and public affairs. And whereas the C-SPAN bus is celebrating its 25th anniversary by visiting all 50 state capitals and designating Des Moines as its 40th capital city to visit, welcoming students, teachers, and elected officials and the public, while adding an archive tour of Iowa's beautiful state capital to its video resources. We'll all have to log in to see how beautiful Iowa is, right? Yes? All right. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Franklin County, Mayor of the City of Des Moines, and on behalf of its City Council, do hereby proclaim September 10th, 2018, today, as C-SPAN Public Affairs Engagement and Iowa State Capitol Tour Day. And we call upon the residents of Des Moines to recognize and to participate in this observance. Help me welcome our friends from C-SPAN. Will you share a thought with everybody about that?
Of course. I'll be very brief. Hello, my name is Ndidi Obasi, and I'm here representing C-SPAN today. As was so beautifully stated earlier, we are here with our C-SPAN bus in celebration of 25 years of our C-SPAN bus program. Our C-SPAN bus is an educational mobile resource bus that we take around the country, and we teach students, teachers, local residents, just a little bit more about C-SPAN and some of the wonderful resources that are available to you all, including our video library on cspan.org. Most importantly, we wouldn't be here without the help of Mediacom. So I really want to highlight and stress our partnership with them and how wonderful it is to work with them in their local communities. Just personally, I've traveled to a lot of state capitals this last year, and it's been a real treat to be in Des Moines and to be in the community and meeting with a lot of local residents and students today. So thank you so much for this. We really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Of course.
She wanted me to be sure and mention something that I think we're pretty proud of, and that is our state capitol is as beautiful as any they've visited. And this building is right here. We have a gorgeous city hall. I'm surprised by how many people I talk to haven't been here, and it's really a great place. For our next presentation and recognition, I'm very excited to ask Council Member Westergaard to come down and help me with this, because we have some young citizens that have been doing some amazing things all summer long since the regular Little League season finished, and they came together as the Grandview team. We're going to ask you to come up in just a minute with your coach, and know that we're going to ask everybody to introduce yourself to the citizens of Des Moines as we're on TV tonight, okay? We're real proud of you. Linda and I will take you want to read part of it? I'll read part of it. So we have a wonderful certificate of recognition, and we hope that we can reproduce this for all the members of your team, and you can keep it as a keepsake. A lot of keepsakes you have from an amazing summer. But it says, and this is from the mayor, Mr. County, the city of Des Moines issues this certification of special recognition to Grandview Little League and manager Matt Kunert. As All-Stars started in late June, where Grandview Little League went 4-0 to win the district championship, then 6-0 to win the state championship. During regionals, they went 4-1, losing the opening game, but winning the next 4 to capture the championship against Fargo, North Dakota. The World Series opened on August 16th, 2018. I was by my TV. I know other people were up here. Grandview Little League lost their first game to Staten Island, New York. They won their second game against New England, and they were eliminated in the third game against Michigan. Several of us watched that Michigan game before a city council meeting in the back room right here. It was very fun for us to cheer on the hometown boys. The players and staff all worked hard and persevered. The city of Des Moines joins in recognizing and celebrating and congratulating Grandview Little League for their outstanding season, which included a 2018 Midwest Regional Championship and participating in the World Series. It's presented today, September 2018, and signed by the mayor. Will all the people of Des Moines, especially those of us here, help me in congratulating Grandview Little League, the Midwest representative? Come on up, boys. Come on up. We'll get the whole council down here. Keep coming. Now come, Matt, can you come over here? I was just putting that out of the way. You guys come back here kind of in the middle, because we're going to want to get a picture and we want you guys on TV. Matt, congratulations. There's a couple of us that have coached Little League. I'm not sure I ever squeezed out a winning record, let alone won the championship. But I know that Mr. Gatto and Mr. Gray, who spent, I know personally, thousands of hours at the Little League out in Beaverdale, all know the kind of work that it takes to treat these kids right. I loved watching you on TV because I saw the way that you interacted with them, and it was clear that you wanted the very best experience for them, and you did everything to help them have fun. So on all of us, on behalf of the city of Des Moines and our residents, want to thank you for your work and your commitment to these young boys and giving them a great opportunity. Congratulations. And this proclamation is yours.
Hello.
Hey, that's fantastic. Hey, that's fantastic. Look at that. We will put it out. This is a This is a sketch, a beautiful sketch of the park. Yeah, where you guys played. Congratulations. That's really exciting. I'm going to give you the mic. Tell us a little bit about these boys and their experience.
Well, I've coached a lot of these boys since they were 8 years old, on various teams and that, and it's been a lot of hard work with the boys, the other coaches. It definitely takes a good coaching staff and a good group of parents there that we've had through this whole journey. So I want to thank you for all the support back in Des Moines, and it's been a great journey. So very proud of everybody.
Alex Stewart, played third base and pitcher.
Kobe Cooner, second base and catcher.
Blake Larson, and first base and pitcher.
Maddox O'Connor, shortstop and pitcher.
Trenton Tharp, outfield.
Cade Byers, outfield. Jay Sembry, outfield.
Yates Chucher, outfield.
Aiden Bennett, outfield. Braden Shutt, catcher and outfield.
And one more thing, I want to give some recognition to this little dude right here. Youngest guy on our team, he made the top 10 United States All-Stars. So a lot of people didn't know that.
Okay, we're going to try something. Mayor? Where's the mic? Where would I put it? The bottom. Hey, Mayor, speak up.
Yeah.
You have the boys right here in front of us. We just gave them their proclamation. I know you wanted to share a comment with them.
I just want to say how proud we are as citizens of Des Moines, of these young people, and all that they have accomplished, not only in the state, but in the region, and then going on to the Nationals and doing so well in the International Little League World Series. And best to them, not only for their success this year, but for their years and their careers to come. And we are so proud of them. And welcome back to Des Moines. And for those of you that are going to play again next year, let's do better next year. And congratulations to all of you. We are so proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we got to get a picture still, don't we? A couple of them. Councilman Westergaard, why don't you climb in the middle there? There you go.
Hello. Laura?
Yes.
All right, we're okay?
Yes. We're taking pictures.
Can you jump up and stand up and you represent me?
I'm ducking down.
Okay.
I didn't know the mayor was on that. Was he in speaker in here so he could have because I did it through my phone, I think.
Oh, is that why it was coming in here?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very good. Caption call him on his phone if I had him on.
Well, welcome. As I mentioned a minute ago, the mayor is out of town. He is on the phone. He is participating, but we've been lucky to have him represent us at some meetings around the country, and he'll be participating by phone. So I get to chair the meeting and make sure that we get done in time to watch Monday Night Football in a little bit. Before we get started, I think, Mr. Gray, you have some thoughts for us tonight. Do you want us to stand?
We stay seated on this.
Okay.
I always like to, every now and then, lighten things up. I got a little book here about the 1001 smartest things ever said. And, you know, because I'm probably starting at 1002 with smart things, so these guys are a lot smarter than me. And this, you know, many people may know I'm Irish, very proud of my heritage. And this is from the fine Irish writer, P.J. O'Rourke. I love the thing he said here. He says, one of the annoying things about believing in free will and individual responsibility is the difficulty of finding somebody to blame your problems on. And when you do find somebody, it's remarkable how often his picture turns up on your driver's license. Irish always have good jokes.
Well done. We do have an agenda before us. We'll start with a roll call. Diane, thank you.
County.
That's a yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Boson. Gray.
Yes.
Westergaard.
Here.
Mandelbaum.
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 2 is approving our agenda. We do have copies of it out front if anybody doesn't have one. We do have some amendments. Do I need to read these into the record? These? So we have an amendment on 35A. We've added A. It's approval of corrective development agreement due to Scrivener's error for development of city-owned property at 418 East Grand Avenue. On our regular agenda, item 51 is corrected. Council Communication 18-464. And item 59 is corrected. It's continued until October 22nd. So we're not planning on taking up item 59 tonight. So with that, the agenda's been moved. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
7 yes.
The next is item 3, and this is approving our consent agenda. The council takes non-controversial items. Tonight it's recommended those are items 3 through 41. We'll pass all those with one vote unless there are council members or citizens that would like to speak to them. Here's what I have so far. If you have any items between numbers 3 and 41 that you'd like to speak to, address the council, please let us know when I get done reading this list. Item 4P, Coleman votes no. 4CC, Gray wishes to speak. 5, Gray wishes to speak. Items 9A and 9B, Mandelbaum abstains. 28A, Gray votes no. 32, Coleman wishes to speak. 41A, Coleman wishes to speak. Any others from the council that we missed? Anybody want to speak to any other items?
Move item 3.
So the consent agenda has been moved.
Wait 1 second.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. A request to speak on 22. Thank you. We'll take that in order. So we do have a motion from Councilmember Gatto on the balance of the consent.
Yes. Move item 3.
It's been moved.
22, speaker.
Aye.
Josh?
7 yes.
Thank you. So that takes us to item 4CC. Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This 4CC and 4MM kind of go hand in hand. This is my annual shout out for the Beaverdale Fall Festival Parade. And the whole festival for the weekend. It starts Friday night, the 14th, and parade time starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday, the 15th. The times are 5 until midnight on Friday and from 8 o'clock until midnight on Saturday. And for those of you that haven't been there, you're missing probably one of the greatest festivals that you're going to see a neighborhood put together. Parade itself will probably have about 10 to 15,000 people lining the streets, looking at all the dignitaries and bands and floats. It truly is a fantastic event. I encourage everybody that has an opportunity to come on down. You will have the time of your life. There's wild food, great beverages, and a lot of venues to visit. Bands playing, great bands to be playing, and a big screen TV to watch your favorite games. So that's my annual shout out for the Beaverdale Fall Festival. So with that, I'll move item 4CC.
And I didn't read it, but 4CC is the temporary function in Beaverdale Fall Festival on September 14th, 15th, so.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that CC doesn't stand for Canadian Club, so.
Aye.
7 yes.
Thank you. That takes us to item 5 for Councilmember Gray, who took his comedy pill this morning.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This one probably isn't quite as funny. We had a work session this morning, and we were looking over a plan we're going to be approving here in a few weeks. And one of the things is a priority that we have in our city to take care of our sewer systems, of our streets, and our infrastructure. I know this is just ordering construction and getting an estimate, but what I'd like to do, it's a $400,000 to repair a bike trail. I'm challenged by our priorities here. If you would have driven through Beaverdale like I had and see all those people's possessions sitting out there, and we're going to put something to a bike trail, I'm a little challenged by that. And the reason I am is because if our taxes are going to be paying for that, then what are we saying to the residents? What happened to my street? Joe, Josh, what about Fleur Drive? Would you like to see some help over there? How would you like some sidewalks, Joe? I think you would too, Linda. This is frustrating for me.
We've had that discussion
Yes.
this morning. I think everyone knows how I feel about sidewalks.
Well, I
And
just,
streets and sewers and.
well, I think when you get down to the cost-benefit ratio, you look at the traffic that's running down Fleur versus the traffic that's going down that bike path, I'm sincerely challenged by it. I will move this to go forward, but I want to see what this final bid looks like, because I want to tell you, even though this happens in Ward 1, this affects the entire city. I want to make sure that we're not taking money that our taxpayers are paying and putting it on a bike trail that gets probably very little use. That's my thoughts on that project. I'll move to go ahead with it, so I'll move item 5.
It's been moved, and I didn't read this one either, but ordering construction of the Trestle to Trestle Trail, repair east of Beaver Avenue, receiving of bids, 9/25/18, setting date of hearing for 10/8/18, and the engineer's estimate is $400,000. I think in our packet, we did have some photos and some other things of the damage that's there.
So is there a wall that needs to be, the wall's $300,000, the retaining wall. Is there a?
Mr. Page, do you mind, or Scott, is that all right if I?
Yeah.
Ben, come up.
It's 3,000.
No, it's $299,000
Yeah.
for the wall.
Mayor Pro Tem Coleman, members of the Des Moines City Council, Ben Page, Parks and Recreation Director. I think I heard two questions. First, one about use and demand. And one thing I would tell you is this, is we have done for about 5 years straight our counts that are very, very informal counts, but it's the nationally recognized formula. And that section of trail has about 300,000 trail trips per year. So it's quite a lot. And the reason we're here to fix it today is those barricades, unfortunately, don't get kept there. People move them out of the way. I think you have a real safety concern. At night, picture as it gets darker, a tire goes into that picture, that crack, the person goes over, you could have a more expensive repair or claim. Also, the repair is because it's close to the river where all of our trails normally follow, and so we have an erosion issue there. We've been waiting for about 2 years to get this completed, to get the money assembled in the CIP. So I would tell you, it's a pretty serious repair to make now, or you should consider closing that section of trail.
So maybe we can challenge all of us here that maybe we can prioritize some trails, because people do use trails. It's the ones that we're putting that we're designating on our roads, that we're putting bike lanes in, that we're spending thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, that maybe we should take a look at and be able to put sidewalks in for our neighbors and our school kids that can walk to school before we have to ride down the street. Because I know when I grew up, I wasn't able to ride in the street. I rode on the sidewalk. I don't know where that concept has gone, but if I got caught riding in the street on my bicycle, there was an Italian man that wasn't very happy with me. So, I mean, I think the trails are wonderful, and I know they are being used, but we need to really take a look at where we're going to prioritize this money at. So that's just my own 2 cents worth. I know it's been
Thank
moved.
you. You moved it,
Yeah.
and I think, is that everybody? We waited
Thanks,
for
Ben.
one more? There you go. Thank you, Ben.
Aye.
7 yes.
Thank you. That takes us to item 22. You can come forward as I read it. Item 22 is on contract with the Animal Rescue League of Iowa, Inc. for lease of an animal shelter services, and city animal control. And I would let everybody know this is under the category of setting the date of hearing. So tonight's action is only to set the date of hearing for 9/24/18. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. Britt Gagne, 5703 Walnut Hill Avenue in Des Moines. I was just requesting that some additional information be available. I'm not certain that the contract is planned to be included prior to for the materials, but I recognize that there are definitely some changes to what we were talking about a while ago, but would just like to be able to have a bit more information prior to that time, as it was discussed that there would be potentially like a city workshop about this issue. So by way of update, I guess, from me, we are very happy that there has been over 50 or so cats that have been transferred over to Furry Friends since July. Certainly that is great progress. I am working on pulling the live release rate data for the month since we have been able to receive some of those animals, and hoping that we're seeing, I know we'll be seeing that we're going in the right direction. But wondering kind of where we need to go and where we're at this point, because I know immediately prior we were still about the month before. Most recent I had was May, and those numbers were similar to 2017, but certainly hopeful. Definitely happy that there has been progress in that area, but also would just request some additional information prior to the meeting so people can kind of understand what's being discussed. Thanks.
Thank you. A couple of things. We do have a chance to see all the questions that council members asked the manager leading into this, and that was a question that was asked by several council members to make sure that we have the proposed contract in advance of the agenda coming out next week. And we are on the 24th, the morning. We will have a public discussion about that, so we all get questions answered at our workshop.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? A motion to set the date of hearing?
Do we need to receive and file her comments, or are we good?
Yeah.
I can move to receive and file.
It's been moved to receive and file her comments. Let's voice vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll move
Aye.
item 22.
Okay.
So item 22 has been moved. We'll have a hearing on this in 2 weeks, if it passes. Mayor?
Aye.
7 yes.
Thank you. That takes us to item 32. 32 is actually from myself, Economic Development Assistant contract between Meredith Corporation and the Iowa Economic Development Authority. I wanted to take just a minute to recognize and thank Meredith Corporation. One of the largest transactions of business that's ever happened is the Meredith merger purchase, and it looks like it's exactly what they promised it would be. really good for our local economy, and their growth and addition of jobs here is really, really positive for our city overall. And I just wanted to acknowledge Meredith. They do an amazing amount of great corporate things in our community, and I'm really happy. So I sometimes these look like the information on our one-sentence agenda doesn't really show how significant this is, but this is a really good thing for our metro area and the city. If somebody could move that. That would be great.
I'll move item 32.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved. We'll vote with the buttons. Mayor?
Aye.
7 yes.
And item 41, I'm sorry, on A, I'll accept a motion if anybody had any comment on that. I don't need to speak to that.
I'll move item 41 and 41A.
Mayor?
Aye.
I'm a no on A.
You're a no on A. All right, we need Linda to vote.
Councilmember Westergaard.
You're just a no on the A. So 7 yes on 41 and 6 yes, 1 no on A.
All right, so that was 41. That ends our consent agenda, so if you're following along our agenda, that takes us to item 42. We'll take the next couple in order, and then at 5 o'clock we'll meet, we'll move to the hearings. Item 42 is amending Chapter 114 of the Municipal Code, submitting traffic regulations as follows. Code revisions on Forest Avenue from 16th to 63rd Street to match field conditions. And B, removing 12th and Cherry Street parking lot from the municipal code. Any comment from the public? Any from the council?
Seeing none, I'll move 42, 42A, and 42B. And if no one here,
Aye.
can we move, not quite done, I'll move to waive the second and third readings.
Yep. So we have a move, we have the A and B
Aye.
moved. The mayor has voted yes. All of us can vote.
7 yes.
We take care of that. Item 43 was not used. Item 44 is amending Chapter 14 of the Municipal Code regarding duration of license for amusement houses. And item A is the final consideration of the ordinance above. A waiver is requested by the Community Development Department. This requires 6 votes. We had some testimony about this a couple weeks ago. Any comment from the public?
I see none. I will move 44 and 44A. We had some lengthy discussion the last time that the proprietors were here.
Mayor?
Aye.
7 yes.
Item 45 is amending Chapter 118 of the Municipal Code regarding fee for connection to major sanitary sewer facilities. Anybody from the audience wish to speak? Any comment from the council? Anybody got a motion?
I'll move 45.
It's been moved. Mayor, 45's been moved.
Aye.
I'll waive the second and third reading too.
Thank you. This will take a second vote.
Being there's no
There is none.
dissension or comment, I vote aye on that also.
Okay.
So we're voting again on the.
Yeah, on the waiver.
Waiver.
I think too many of us had probably voted.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's all right.
I wasn't quick
7
enough.
yes.
It was a good thought. Item 46 is amending Chapter 2 of the Municipal Code, adding a section regarding exceptions to procurement of goods and services being funded by federal funds. Anybody from the audience wish to speak?
I'll move item number
Thank you.
46.
Item 46 has been moved.
Do we need to waive the other?
If you want.
Aye.
And I'll go ahead and move the,
To waive the second,
waive the second, third readings.
7 yes.
7.
Aye on that as well.
Is that a second vote? Counselor, is that?
I think I,
Did you put it all together on the same one?
yeah, we put it all together.
So, okay. The mayor acknowledged, I think, that he heard both of them. Okay. Maybe we have time for one more before 5 o'clock. Item 47 is from Cynthia Gatch and Donnie Current to speak regarding the driveway at 2436 Garfield Avenue. Thank you for coming down to the council.
Thank you.
Appreciate it if you would introduce yourself and give us your address, please.
Cindy Gatch. It's in regard to the property at 2436 East Garfield.
Is that your home?
What's your address?
No, it's a rental, okay?
Okay.
And what I got a problem with is if it's a rental and we have a gravel driveway and we can't add any more gravel to it, we have to put in a regular driveway. But you can drive around all Des Moines and you can see where they're adding gravel, they're gravel driveways, and the law that in regards to this has been in effect for a long time because when my mom died in 2009, she had a house that was a rental. She was told that she had to put a new driveway in. But if she had family living in that house, she didn't have to put one in. Okay, so I know the law's been in effect for a long time. My question is, if you have a rental and your driveway is getting bad because you can't add gravel to it, why do we have to put in a driveway versus somebody that owns their own house, adds gravel, and aren't required to put a driveway in? It's kind of discrimination as to whether you rent the house out or you live in it. So that's my question, because it starts here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Manager, do you want to respond?
Unless the neighbor turns somebody in that's living in their own home, nobody does nothing. I've seen those pictures. I just went down the street and you can see it's different gravel.
Yeah.
Plus my question is, if you look at all the alleys, and they're mud holes, the alleys that go behind people's houses, and that's by the city, and city has gravel on their roads. So I don't understand why people renting their houses out are discriminated against.
Okay, let me give Councilmember Westergaard a chance to respond, and we're probably going to have to refer this on to get you a more complete answer after the meeting.
And there may be somebody from community, I don't know if Mike can answer it, and I believe he will, but that we have a rental code. We have a rental code is different than what a private owner would have. And I believe I discussed this with you on the phone. And I talked to Jim Nelson, and he said, we would even give you until winter to put in your cement driveway. But it's not discrimination. It's just that our rental code is different than our private property.
Why? I mean, it's the same law, but since neighborhood financing handles one side of it, and it's handled on the other side by somebody else, because if somebody turns in their neighbor, then the other people have to make that person that owns a home do a driveway. Until they're turned in, that's not happening.
I'll let Mike address that.
Is that true?
But I know that if you have a rental,
mistaken.
you have to have a cement driveway.
So I have to make it better for a person I'm renting to than if I lived in it myself. That's what you're telling me.
Well, I'll let Mike fill us in.
He's behind you. He's behind you, Cynthia.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council, Michael Ludwig, Planning Administrator for the City of Des Moines. Councilmember Westergaard, you're absolutely correct. We do currently have a rental code. There have been discussions about adoption of a private property owner maintenance code for the city that would regulate single-family homes as well, owner-occupied, but currently we only have a rental maintenance code under the city. And so we do take complaint basis and do enforce on those actions on rental codes, especially when the rental certificates come due on properties. That's one of the primary times where we do our enforcement action on a particular property. So again, at this time, we only have it on rental code.
So Mike, just to clarify, if I own a home with a gravel driveway and I live in it, and my neighbor complains of the dust, I'm not required, if I live in the home, to pave the driveway, correct?
It would depend on the nuisance code for the city in that instance. If someone's calling about dust and whatever on a property, we could probably take action under our nuisance regulations. But currently, if the driveway deteriorates from the rock condition on a rental property, when they come up with their new certificate, that's when we enforce and ask for the driveway to be paved.
And that's how this came up. This wasn't because of a neighbor complaint. This This came about because the city was out to do your rental inspection, and he said you have to put in a concrete driveway.
Exactly. You're discriminating between people that rent houses and people that own houses. It's a
Thank you for coming
discrimination.
down, and we will, if somebody would.
Yeah, I would move to receive.
I think Don wants to say something.
I just got a couple questions to ask. If you guys don't pass this, how long have you got to do that? Is there a time limit?
I think Don, they already said that she would have until winter to put it in.
You know, Joe, it's hard to do concrete in the wintertime.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know that.
And this came up.
Okay. My other question is, if it doesn't get done, what is the penalty?
These are questions that we should answer directly to you based on each individual circumstances might create different penalties or a different time frame. So if you would, maybe your motion to receive and file could include referring this to your office, and we could have somebody from the city manager's office or his designee make contact with you to go through that.
It's $550 if they file, if you don't have it.
Well, she said it had to have a concrete, but you don't have to have concrete because you can have blacktop.
Same price,
Right.
but it is a discrimination.
And she's wrong.
I will say before we vote that I don't feel that it's discrimination. I think that there is a valid reason to treat a business in a residential neighborhood different than other residences, and a rental property is a business.
No, it's not. According to IRS, it is a investment. They won't even count it as a business. It's an investment. When you do your taxes, it's an investment. It's not a business. They don't even classify as a business.
I'm less concerned about what the IRS says and more concerned about what the neighbors of the property say. They know that you're operating a business there and that there's an income stream from it, and we've taken the opportunity to hold those properties to a higher level.
Why? If I lived in it, I wouldn't have to do it, but if I got a renter in there and I charge a cheap rent so they can survive, a lot of people are struggling.
Yeah.
So when I have to do that, I have to raise the rent. So what are you accomplishing here? Making it harder on the little person that's working?
We don't want to make it harder on them, and that's a fundamental balance that we try and strike here. I get that, but there are a number of things that rental properties have to do, including being inspected every other year and paying for a certificate.
The other houses don't have to be inspected. All you got to do is drive by, and you can see the driveways.
So what you're saying is, what's good for me, or what's good for you is not good for me, and what's good for me is not good for you, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not.
Stop it, Don.
I've been a
that's
rental
not.
property owner as well as my own property, and I know that comes with some expenses and some obligations that being in a owner-occupied house doesn't. And I think, we respond with these regulations on behalf of many of the citizens that contact us about how rental properties, not yours, but many, are a detriment to their neighborhood. And as a result, you're in an industry with some bad actors, not you guys, but cities have to pass rules to address the lowest common denominator, and that's unfortunate because good homeowners and rental companies and families like yourself get caught in the middle.
It ought to be equal, though. Whether you own the house or whether you rent it or you live in it, it ought to be equal.
Well, you're gonna see the council, I think, because we've
Right,
been talking about it.
trying to make it equal.
Trying to make it equal by
We'll get a
holding
homeowner code.
homeowner properties also accountable for similar regulations.
How about your alleys that are mud holes? Do you do anything about those? I've taken pictures of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming down. We will be in contact with more information to answer your questions.
Okay.
Well, I think the city of Des Moines has a double standard itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, we're moving to receive and file the comments and refer it to the manager.
Yay.
7 yes.
All right, that's passed. Because of the time, at 5 o'clock or as near as we can, we move to the hearings, which, if you're following along on the agenda, means that we're going to skip to item 53. We have to announce the time that we're going to hold these and we'll move to that now. We'll go back to the earlier agenda and catch up on those items in a few minutes. But that takes us to item 53. It's on proposed third amendment, the urban renewal plan for the Ingersoll Grand Commercial Urban Renewal Area. Anybody here to speak on item 53? It's a public hearing. It's your chance. Seeing none, I'll close the hearing.
I'll move item 53.
It's been moved. Mayor, this is the urban renewal plan.
7 yes.
Thank you. Item 54 is on proposed First Amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Northeast Economic Development District Urban Renewal Area, hereafter to be known as the Northeast Hubble Urban Renewal Area. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. Is there anybody here to speak on this public hearing? Seeing none.
If not, I move.
Nobody's here to speak. The mayor moved it. He doesn't get that chance very often, so he's.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is
He's rolling with it. It's twice he's did it today.
Is there anybody from the council that would like to make comment? If not, we will vote. I'm sorry.
54.
Yeah, Mayor, you moved 54, 54A and B, is that correct?
That's correct.
We'll vote.
7 yes.
Item 55 is on proposed 11th amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Southeast Agribusiness Urban Renewal Area. Anybody here to speak on the Southeast Agri Merchant District Urban Renewal Area? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing. Joe, do you have any comment?
He's moving everything now.
No comment.
It's been moved.
That's what I said, Joe.
He must have something fun to do.
None at all. We're moving right along. Good job, Mayor.
Aye.
That passed, right?
Yes, sir.
56 is dismissing the public hearing on the proposed Fifth Amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Southeast Side Economic Development District Urban Renewal Plan.
I see none.
That's the south side. Doesn't matter.
I was trying to let you
I'm going to go.
jump in before.
I'm going to go ahead and move item 56.
Better be quick. Item 56 has been moved. No comment from anyone? Let's vote.
Aye.
7 yes.
Item 57, on approval of documents for vacation of a portion of 6th Avenue right-of-way and east-west alley right-of-way adjoining 206 6th Avenue and conveyance for a permanent easement for a building encroachment and a permanent easement for airspace above city-owned property to 206 6th Avenue LLC for $4,920. Item A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. Is there anybody here to speak on item 57?
Seeing none, I'll move item 57 and 57A, and I'll move to waive the second and third reading.
All in one motion, we're going to vote to waive the second and third reading. Mayor?
Seeing no dissent or any problems by the public, I vote aye.
Thank you.
7 yes.
That takes us to item 58. On request of NJC Properties, LLC, Noel Chaddock Officer, to rezone 2525 McKinley Avenue from M3 Limited Industrial to C2 General Highway and Highway-Oriented Commercial to allow single-family residential development on the property and to continue this hearing until September 24th, 2018 at 5 p.m.
Seeing none, I'll move item 58.
Just a question. Why does it have to be C2 to put single-family homes? Isn't it?
Mike's going to come up.
Isn't it art?
So you can have.
Okay, well, why don't we zone residential?
Mayor Pro Tem Michael Ludwig, Planning Administrator. The C2 zoning request by the applicant gives them some flexibility for use if the residential doesn't work on the property, is what they stated in their application.
What else do they want to put there?
They had a list on their proposed zoning that had limited conditions on the use of the property. Right now, I think in the past, there were storage units that were proposed on the property that are allowed under the current zoning. And they've expressed at least an interest to do some residential. The neighborhood asked for, I guess, a little bit more definition of what that residential would look like, and we've been in negotiations with them, but we did not get any final determination.
So is storage units allowed under C2 also?
They would be allowed to have storage units, mini storage units.
Under C2?
We did propose that they strike that as a permitted use in our negotiations with them, but they are allowed that under current zoning, so.
And so when they zone at C2, are they going to strike that?
We've not heard back from them yet on whether they're in agreement with that condition.
Is that one of the reasons for the delay?
Yeah, we had a pretty lengthy list of conditions. We met with the applicant on those, and he was going to be heading out of town, so he agreed to a continuation to think about those and evaluate those conditions.
Okay. I guess I'd like a list of everything that's going to be allowed under C2, and I think the neighbors would probably like to know that.
We can provide that.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mike.
So it's been moved, which is delaying this 2 weeks to come back before, well, not delaying it, keeping it open for 2 weeks until we come back together.
Right.
That's what we're.
Mayor?
Sorry, aye.
7 yes.
Perfect. Item 59, it's also a continuance regarding request from 50th and Douglas LLC to rezone property located in the vicinity of 3905 50th Street from R160 one family low density to a PUD planned unit development, and for approval of a PUD conceptual plan Beaverdale Townhomes for a development of approximately 2.74 acres for 21 row house, one-story townhomes on a private drive accessed from 50th Street, subject to conditions, and to continue until October 22nd, 2018 at 5 p.m. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak on this? Councilman Gray?
Yes, I had an opportunity last Friday to, along with Josh and a few other elected officials, to take the West Side Economic Bus Tour, and we did stop by that area. Surprising, it sits behind Travis TV and one of my favorite places, the Donut Hut.
The donut is.
But it's good density to add in that area, and I wholly support it, and I'm hoping we're getting more and more information put together. That's why we're continuing it. So I'm going to move item 59 to continue it to October 22nd.
Perfect. It's been moved. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, let me make a quick comment here, and I appreciate Councilmember Gray's comments. I would also like to say that as we think about the future of the city of Des Moines and areas that may be subject to inundation by water and extreme events, I would say that this particular area could possibly be subject to that. And I have huge concerns based upon my drive-by analysis and look at the topography of this particular area as to whether or not these particular residences could be in some way adversely affected by extreme events. And I think that we need to look at this very, very closely before we would approve this. I don't want to see something like this happen here. Has happened on 47th Street, which I'm sure happened way before city thought about extreme events, and 4 Mile Creek. I mean, this really concerns me.
Well taken, Mayor. I have talked with the developer, and they are reassessing the size of pipe they're putting in there. So it did not go unnoticed. So, and we'll continue to have discussions with them about water drainage, stormwater drainage in that area. So you're right, we need to make sure that we keep our neighborhoods dry.
Yeah.
Yep, in that particular area, as you look at it, everybody that drives by it will see that it lies low and seems to be a drainage area that was not developed for a very specific reason in the past. So let's make sure we understand what the consequences are here. Thank you.
That's a great point, because there's areas that we can't size a pipe big enough on the south side to take the water. So, I mean, we definitely need to be looking at this before this comes back to us, I would think. Okay.
Thank you. It's been moved. The mayor, Mayor, did you vote to have the hearing, or are you going to oppose it tonight?
No, I'll move, quite frankly, vote for moving it forward, but I think we need to really look at it hard. I'm not saying that I would vote for it at the hearing.
Thank you.
7 yes.
It's passed. Item 60 is on 6th Avenue Streetscape, College Avenue to Whitman Road. Resolution approving plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and designating the lowest responsible bidder as Hawkeye Paving Corporation, Anthony Perkins, President, $3,125,623.70.
How many cents?
70.
Just checking.
Item A is approving the contract and bond and permission to sublet. Is there anybody here? This is a hearing. Anybody here? Thank you. Come on up. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Brian Bai, 523 Franklin Avenue, Executive Director of the 6th Avenue Corridor. I'm sorry to delay the mayor from getting out of here. I would like to make a few comments, mostly that we are so excited to get this project started. It's been a long time coming, so thank you all for your continued support of this project. Mayor, thank you. Certainly, Councilmember Gray, thank you for your sustained leadership for the 6th Avenue corridor efforts. We definitely also want to thank all of our area residents and business owners for all of the community input meetings that they've come to over the years. We participated in the Greening America's Capitals through the EPA program. That brought a lot of people out. We've had many other meetings to talk about bicycle infrastructure. We are so excited that all of the components of this project will help to stabilize and allow our small businesses to thrive, make 6th Avenue a safe place for people to live, work, and play in our city. The private community, the corporate community has really come out and supported this project. We definitely want to thank Mercy Medical Center, the Polk County Board of Supervisors, the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, Prairie Meadows, the Iowa Department of Cultural Affairs, Walmart, and Bankers Trust. Combined, they have invested a tremendous amount of money in seeing this project happen, and I know we all want to thank them today. So thank you all, and we're very, very excited to get this started.
Thank
get
you
this
very
party
much for being
started.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here to speak? I'll close the public hearing. Councilman Gray.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, I do have a few comments, and I will be moving 60 and 60A when I get to it. When I first got elected, this was one of the first areas that I had a meeting. And Brian's predecessor was Laura Peters, who's now employed by the city of Des Moines. And we started out with a Herculean task. You know, we are breaking this up in phases, from the river to college, college to university, and then university to the freeway. Well amount of money. I think, what we have, about $9 million invested in that whole thing. And this first portion is with 70 cents, 3.1 million. What I like about this, and this is why I'm the biggest cheerleader for this project, is that these people were able to come up with their share of the project, $3,500. And as we all know, 6th Avenue in that area is a little bit distressed, and to try and find a contribution, it's more than that, that's all it says in the blue letter. They're only giving you that much credit, see? I know what happened. But, to see the community involvement come together and change, we're going to start this, I hope in November. Is that still on the radar, Steve? I love that thumbs up approach. This is going to really make a game changer for people that are going to be entering downtown Des Moines. This, I've seen the renditions. I've seen all of the way that we're putting this together, the way the neighborhood's coming together. This is absolutely the best thing that I think I've ever been a part of in many, many years. So my hats go off to Brianne. You did, and I will say this, I think you're up to, for the entire project, you're up to raising $1.1 million. Wow. I can't help but be more impressed. You guys have done a fantastic job. I'll keep being your biggest cheerleader. It is going to be a game changer for the near west side of Des Moines. I'm glad to be a part of it, so I'm going to move 60 and 60A. Keep it up, Brianne.
Well done. It's been moved. We'll
You let the
vote.
cheers start now.
Mayor? 6th Avenue Streetscape.
I just want to step up and say that I appreciate Bill being the number one cheerleader. Let me fall in behind him and say I'm the number two cheerleader. We have pushed this project forward, including the EPA designating this area as one of the 4 areas in the United States of America to be looked at as greening of America's capitals. And I am so excited that everybody has stepped up on both the public and the private side to support this effort. And Bill, I'll stand right in behind you and say, let's cheerlead and let's move this thing forward and let's make it happen. It's been too long in the waiting. Thank you. I voted aye.
7 yes.
7 yes, fantastic.
Make sure you take a picture.
That completes our public hearings. Thank you for coming. We do go back to item 48, and we'll finish our agenda from there with a handful more items. Item 48 is from Garnett Nordine. I hope I got your name right. Thank you. 2514 Kingman Boulevard to speak regarding summarization of Organizing for Action's Community Forum on Public Safety and Police Reform.
Hi, my name is Garnett Nordine. I live at 2514 Kingman Boulevard. And I'm here to talk about an organization that I belong to for about 10 years. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's called Organizing for Action. It used to be called Organizing for America. It was Obama's campaign organization. And then when he didn't need to campaign anymore, it was changed to a nonprofit organization that is nonpartisan and focuses on training and mobilizing community organizers and on issues that promote economic and social equality. And it's also very value-driven, I would say, with respect is a big emphasis to interact with people in a respectful way, no matter if they disagree with you or anything like that, with the idea that if in that way we can find common ground and help solve problems that involve all of us. We've seen that partisanship doesn't help with that, with solving problems a lot of the time. So that leads me to why I'm here. We had an event that was, we put it on with Black Lives Matter this summer, and it was a community gathering. And so I want to share with you some of the concerns that were brought up and also some possible solutions that were discussed. There were 45 people attended. It was multiracial and multi-generational. I think some people here also attended that. We met to share experiences of discrimination and inequality here in Des Moines, to discuss law and community policing and brainstorm reforms. It was stressed This is not a partisan issue. We all want safe public spaces, and we all want to be treated fairly and with respect. And I'd also like to add on policing. That is a tough job, and I have total, absolute respect for policemen and want all of them to be safe. I have family and friends that are policemen. So in making these comments, that isn't taking away from that. It's just pointing out things that are happening in the city that we can all help to address. So first I'm going to just cover the concerns, and these were all brought up by people at the meeting about things that had happened to them. One was uneven treatment of citizens of color during routine traffic stops. Second was racial and ethnic profiling, such as police apprehensions of law-abiding citizens on a whim, often on their own property under the guise of neighborhood watches, forcing citizens to prove they actually belong in a particular neighborhood that was, in this case, was actually where they lived. Third was frayed police and community relations that result in failure to report crimes for fear of being harassed, which is a big concern for all of us, because if people don't step up and report crimes, then they just continue. And so the solutions that were discussed was, the first was community building, Bridging the Gap initiative, which was created by Des Moines Civil and Human Rights Commission and endorsed by our mayor. It's a visionary strategy to build a more inclusive and thriving community. 5-part strategy slated to begin in October, but I believe it's already begun. There's been meetings that have happened the first stage, and then the second stage, I believe, is going to happen. There's a meeting September 17th, a community meeting, so I plan on going to that for sure. And it also, that involves dialogue, small group discussions that improve relationships between law enforcement and members of the community. Second was address cultural competence in local government and education, perhaps mandatory anti-bias training for public employees, including judges, lawyers, teachers, school administrators, and all city and county employees. Is that my time?
Yeah, how much more
Can
do
I
you have?
finish? I have one more.
If you can take a minute or less, I think the council would allow.
And then to address systemic inequalities, which is a big long-term thing, because that results in de facto residential and school segregation, and encourage people to vote. So thanks for your time. Can I just point out one more thing? In the things that I handed out,
yes.
There was a really nice report written by Sophia Douglas, I think was her name.
You want to move and receive a file?
I think if
Yeah, she
you
wanted to point
could
that
read
out.
that it would be, it's really a good report. And then finally, lastly, the gold is our next event, and you're all invited, and I think one of your board members is part of that, or has contributed to that too. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much. Councilman Gatto has moved to receive and file the.
Well, I'll move to receive and file, and I just wanted to thank you for coming. I know Councilwoman Westergaard and I were at the June 30th public meeting, and it's important to have our community engaging and thinking seriously about how we can continue to improve our community and continue to improve public safety. I appreciate you in particular mentioning the efforts, the Bridging the Gap efforts, and I'll make a separate plug for that as well. There was a series of meetings with Bridging the Gap over the summer, and there's going to be, at this time next week, I believe the Central Library is going to be sort of what they're calling the reveal, where they're going to have a whole host of solutions that were discussed at those meetings, and community members can vote on solutions there. So particularly for folks who care about these issues, I'd encourage you to continue to engage and show up next week and be a part of the process. So thank you, and with that, I'll move to receive and file.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down and sharing the thoughts and giving us that invitation. Thank you. That takes us to item 49 from Jamie Smith, 2508 47th Street, to speak regarding protocols, procedures for the mobile sump pump that's at or near 47th and Holcomb and Beaverdale sometimes.
Yep. Hi. Thank you. The reason that I wanted to get on the agenda was the June 30th flood. Our neighborhood was hit really hard there in Beaverdale. And one of the temporary solutions that Public Works, whomever came up with, was to put a levee-sized sump pump at our corner at 47th and Holcomb, which is great. I mean, it's provided a lot of relief for us. So when we have a certain amount of rain, they'll bring the pump out, and then, you know, if we have any flooding issues, that pump will shoot the water south up to Hickman. So what I wanted to do was just kind of get this a procedure with you, with the city council. And so I was emailing with Jonathan Gano. I got on the agenda, and then he emailed me and said, is there anything I can help with? And I said, yeah, that would be great. So we had a few email exchanges, and he has a protocol that he put in place, and I shared it with all of our neighbors, and they feel really comfortable with this. Obviously, until we have a more permanent solution, they're going to do that pervious pavement project next year. Maybe there'll be a pump installed underground. You know, we don't know. Those are things that are being looked at. But we wanted something on the record for this protocol, for the pump. Is Jonathan? Oh, so anyway, I told Jonathan I would just, I have our communication email. I don't know if you all want one, or at least one for the record there. These are all the communications between Jonathan and I. So I don't know if you want to say anything, Jonathan, or I covered it. So that really, I just wanted to get this on record with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem will move to receive and file.
Thank you. Mayor?
Sorry, yay. Receive and file.
It passes.
Connie's not.
Oh, not me? Oh, Connie, I'm
I
sorry.
thought I did. 7 yes?
Thank you. 3 items left. Thanks for sticking with us. Item 50 is development agreement with the Des Moines Griffin Building, LLC, for historic renovation into mixed-use commercial and residential at 319 7th Street, and approving proposed conceptual development plan. Item 50, is there anybody here to speak to it? It's not a public hearing. Josh, do you want to make the first comment and see where it goes?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to move item 50. You know, this is a historic building, the site of Edna Griffin's lunch counter sit-in, and it's great to see the historic component being preserved as part of this project. And it's an exciting redevelopment project, so I'll move item 50.
Thank you. Mayor?
Aye.
7 yes?
What a great project. Before we take up item 51, I wanted to give Councilmember Mandelbaum a chance to speak.
Yeah, I just wanted, this item actually involves my cousin and uncle's business. There have been several items over the course of my tenure on the council that have typically been on the consent agenda, and I've abstained, but I wanted to just use this opportunity to let the public know that because of the appearance of a conflict, I am not participating or voting on this. I am not involved in this business. My day job, all of us here have day jobs unless you're retired.
Further at that end.
That's what happens.
But all of us had, at least at one point in our council careers, have had day jobs, and I work as an environmental attorney. I am not a real estate developer. one of the reasons why the appearance is particularly important to me, the countless number of times that I get confused with the real estate developer portion of my family, you would not believe. It happens with people who don't know us at all but have heard the name, and it happens with people who know us and I would assume know better. It even happened, the register during the campaign even confused us at one point. And because of that, I think it's important that the public know that this body is not making decisions based on me, but based on what the council thinks is best. And that is why I am abstaining from the vote on this and wanted to make that clear. And I will be stepping out while this item is read, so I hope someone will pull me back in.
We'll grab you.
But thank you.
So item 51 is an amendment and restated urban renewal agreement with Fifth and Walnut Parking LLC regarding the sale and redevelopment of the Fifth and Walnut parking garage at 422 Walnut Street. And if you'd give me just a quick second, hear from the development team are a couple of people. People recognize the name Justin Mandelbaum, who's not here. He's out of the country. But from the team, I just wanted to recognize Mike Towsley from White's, Jenny Cooper from Bankers Trust, and Mike Hayes from the Bell and Law Firm. Thank you. So members of the team are here if we have questions, and they can answer them. Councilman Gatto.
Sure, absolutely. No questions. You know what? This has been a very complicated deal put together by our economic team and especially our city manager. And I would really like to thank him because I think this is the first time in 4.5 years that I've sat at this table and I see that actually $1 million from development downtown is going to go back into our neighborhoods. So hats off to you being able to put that in as part of this. Maybe we can put some sidewalks in part of our neighborhoods with some of this money. We've got a great team put together with White and Mike. I see a lot of the union folks sitting here. They're going to have a big role in building this. So let's get the parking garage done, and hopefully with Bankers Trust help, we can build a tower also. So I will move item 51, since Josh is here and it's not in his ward, but I'll move item 51.
Councilmember Bozen.
I just think it's another opportunity to show what can still happen in downtown Des Moines. It's so much development has gone on, and that the fact that it can help spur growth out in our neighborhoods and provide opportunity for everyone throughout the whole city, because downtown really is a neighborhood too, and to have a strong core just only reinforces the whole community and strengthens all of our opportunity to give back to our neighborhoods. So I appreciate the work that's been done, and the fact that we do need a parking space across from all the court services that we have through Polk County, and I think it's a great opportunity to have a tremendous new building in downtown Des Moines.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak? I have some comments. I know that our attorney wanted to say something.
Thank you, Your Honor. This has been a tremendously complicated and time-consuming project, and I just want to acknowledge Roger Brown from my office for all of the incredible work.
Yeah, good work, Roger. I apologize.
He
I should have included you.
And I'm sure Scott will want to speak to his staff as well, because I know there's been a just unbelievable amount of work. But I couldn't let this go by without council understanding and appreciating and valuing how hard Roger has worked on so many redrafts, and he's had aggressive counsel on the other side to work with, but he has done a great job, as always, in protecting the city's interests, and I just want everybody to be aware of that and give Roger the proper due, and Scott can sure acknowledge his staff as well.
If that's all right. Yes, please.
Yeah, I want to echo that because this was definitely a team effort. The staff on economic development, several involved, but Kerry took the lead on this, Kerry Cruz. But there was quite a bit of work, not only by legal, but engineering. There's still a lot of work, obviously, to be done to get this implemented. But clearly, protecting the city's interest was foremost throughout the process, and we do have a better deal in front of us today because of that. So thank you to the staff, thank you, Roger, thank you, Carrie, and thank you to our partners as well.
Yeah, before we vote, I would like to make a couple of comments because I'm supportive too, and kind of found myself on the inside of it a couple of days as I know that there were days where we were close together, and then days where Scott had basically folded up the tent and said it's time to move on because we're just too far away. The development team has been outstanding. Certainly when you have partners like Bankers Trust and Whites and the Bellin Law Firm, a former city attorney, we feel pretty good about the overall team. But it's really important too that people know that we want to have good, strong jobs in town, and having our friends from labor and the trades that actually build the buildings for Whites is key to this. And I'm not quite sure without their support. I mean, I've talked to everybody on the council a lot about this. And those good jobs and the partnership between organized labor, the trades, and Whites was a key to getting this done. These are not easy, and I want to go back 20 years real quickly, because there was a time where the city built every parking garage, and then over the next 50 years, we spent millions of dollars every year maintaining them. And when Nationwide wanted to expand, the one way that we thought we might be able to help is to entice them to build their own parking garage. And since then, we've been on a slow path to try and get the citizens of Des Moines out of subsidizing and building parking for the downtown users. And so today, I think a lot of people could make a real strong argument. And during this process, I felt like I was on both sides. This is a good deal, it's a bad deal. Before it was a better deal, now it's either a better or a worse deal. But I do know this. This deal is far superior to the alternative. And that's us coming back in a couple of weeks and voting to spend $40 or $50 million of the taxpayers' money to build a parking garage ourselves. And so these become really complicated when we try and get out of this business, put it on the private sector, make sure that it's a risk, but a risk they're willing to take on. And that puts us in an entirely different perspective. On top of that, the manager has done a great job. Our legal team, everybody involved, Carrie and the economic development team. For the first time, we have a direct flow of money from a downtown development to our neighborhoods. And we're going to hold the manager and the manager's office for showing us exactly how we're spending that money. And that is a difference maker and a great model for things moving forward. And that wouldn't have happened without the ward council members up here continuing to fight, and Connie and I looking at the whole city. So I just want to say anybody could probably nitpick at any element of this, but I can tell you overall, I'm a lot happier to be endorsing a garage that's a little bit bigger, that's going to put good people to work, that's going to do it where the subsidy we're given to it is a loan and it's going to be repaid back someday, which I'm confident of. And it flows money to the neighborhoods that need it desperately. Joe, you started by making a motion and complimenting that piece of it, and that's huge. So I feel really good about this, and share my enthusiastic recognition for the development team, more importantly, to the city staff that labored over this for months. So we vote?
We vote and they build.
Right.
Mike, we'll see you down there soon.
Dig a hole. Get it done, Mike.
Mayor?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I often don't take the time, as you have just a moment ago, to really congratulate everybody, in this. I will say that I second what everybody said, from Joe to Connie to all the council members and to yourself, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. However, I think that as we move forward and we think about the future of downtown Des Moines and the importance that it has, is the core of not only our city, but the heart of Iowa. And we think about it, my support of this is in support of Justin and his team, who are represented here tonight, to say that I am encouraged by the fact that I talked to Justin last night, and he tells me that he's 95% of the way down the road to getting the rest of the development to happen, because I think that's the key to it. If we were just building a parking ramp, I wouldn't be for that. The city would move forward, or we would have figured out a way to work with the infrastructure that we had in place for far less money. But to me, this is an opportunity for the city, for labor, for everybody to work together, private, public, labor, everybody working together to make a really great development happen. And I look forward to the financiers and everybody putting a deal together that has a development that occurs here on this site, one of the most valuable sites in the state of Iowa, to be really a representative of the future in the 21st century of the opportunity that can happen in regard to residential, mixed-use development. And I think that development, including the hotel and the residential and the other commercial uses, will support the addition in parking that we're seeing here in this site. And I hope that we all can work together to see this thing come to fruition. And I vote in support of it, and thank everybody for standing up and seeing the vision here. And let's make it happen. Thanks.
Thank you. That's a yes, I assume?
6 yes, 1 abstain.
Yeah, perfect. 6 to 1. We do have one more item. Thank you all for being here. Transfer of this is item 52, transfer of surplus funds from the Des Moines Stormwater Management Utility to the City of Des Moines to fund the 2018 Limited Voluntary Flood Damage Property Buyout Project. Any comments from the public? Anybody want to move this transfer?
I'll move item 52.
It's been moved.
And I'll second it.
It's been seconded by the mayor. Let the minutes reflect that.
7 yes.
Mayor, I'm going to call on you to do something I don't think you've ever done before. You want to move us to adjourn?
Absolutely. Thank you all. I move to adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstain. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for letting me help move this forward tonight.
Good job.